So the question I'm addressing tonight is, are the natural science generating the theory of images with social networks? I will try to answer this question from a semiological observation of two specific cases, which I will summarize here for the purposes of the presentation. I have a presentation that I will start to share now.
Okay, it works perfectly. Thank you.
It works. So the two cases I will present are the following. The first is the Twitter profile of a French media, which is called Brut. And the second one is a Twitter account of the French Southern and Antarctic lands. Both work on the environment and produce posts with videos or photo on a daily basis in French. There are therefore many images about science. So I'm going to the next slide. In this approach, I have a communication point of view. I am trying to see how, in the relation of exposure to society in a medium or in an account of a scientific organization, the images of science discretely construct of a theory of the image. I will try to show that in both cases, the same logic of use is present. The image is confined to a logic of illustration. As we can see on the image here, you've got very actual picture of something about COVID in France. And you can see that this situation of the image is confined to a logic illustration is very used. You can see always on the internet, on the Twitter account. And then the scientific gesture does not appear there. Science is a social practice. Science is a folklore that the image comes to caption as in a report in a media. I would like to put forward the idea that in both cases, the photograph is a servant. It does not show a science that reveals the universe. The image understood as a representation captured by a tool and disseminated is just a tool for constructing the institution of science. According to this logic, the photograph is a legend under a text and not a medium in itself. We see science not as a process of revelation, but as an entity and a social body. We see science that is being done and not the scientific fact. To support this idea, I will therefore present some withdrawal from the accounts. Next, I will try to underline three types of communicational relationship present in the text-image relationship, leaving the photograph in this seventh posture. These three types are presented in a book, which is called The Border of the Image, published in 2020, present. And in this book, I present these three types of relationships that allow us to underline this logic of the enslaved image. It is put at the service of the visibility of science. It no longer serves to make visible the facts revealed by the photographic capture. It brings science to life as a human activity and not as a process of revelation. For my first case, as you can see now, Brut, the tool used to talk about science is video reporting. The main topic addressed is French political life with regular surveys on scientific subjects, as you can see on the bottom line. Brut, the media, uses a Facebook platform for its distribution. This is important. The platform imposes formats and codes of the image. These rules have consequences on the type of image used and on the type of relation between text and image. The video image is vertical. It is striking, often with image of landscapes, of situation with scientists and adventurer. We stay on a landscape image and not on a tool image. The logic is that of raising awareness of the importance of scientific subject. This is an idea present in the book Think Science by the author Marvin Efferman, which the caption is How Photography Reveals the Universe. In the construction of the online media brute, it is not a question of revealing the universe, but showing how science is done. The images serves the story. The story through this presence of the image is reinforced. It is about making sense by showing how science is done. Observing the broadcast over several months shows that this unthought of the place of the image is important. It is also present in the second case, the case of the Twitter profile of the Southern Lands that I will now present. So, for this second case, the life of the people, the scientist, is present. Photography is made on a daily basis. We are in an orderly relationship with science. Scientists eat, scientists travel, scientists communicate. The photograph is illustrative. The account, as you can see, is a sort of manual, like a companion for the public to understand scientific activity as human activity. To do science, we therefore look at the science making itself, to use the title of a work edited by Astrid Guillaume and Leah Kurtzwurst in 2019. We do not see the tangibility reality of the phenomena observed by scientists. We can see scientists as social actors. They work, they have activities. We are therefore witnessing a narrative of the life of scientists. It becomes trial, it's not spectacular. Incidentally, the image is relegated to the background, like the almost invisible support of this ordinary story. It's a choice. We can see other choices, especially around the Arctic territory, which seems to be treated differently by other accounts on Twitter. The environment is treated therefore as a scientific fact and not a backdrop or a backscape for scientific life. How to think about this passage of tool by means of narration, of photography and video on social networks? We must be interested in the level of the text-image relationships, it seems to me. I am therefore now relying on a text that appeared in the book Frontier of the Image that I presented earlier. In this text, I highlight three text-image relationships. Photography is always, in all those three cases, like a material for the story. It is not a central tool. I present now the three types to you to clarify the idea of photography as playing the role of caption only. This is caused by the metamorphosis and intermediarity processes studied by the information and communication science in France. I distinguished three main types of uses of this text-image relationship. One can graduate according to the effect of mutual reinforcement between text and image, more or less marked. In this text-to-image relationship, worked on by platform executive, the written word is often more than a caption, although the proposed form of the text resembles the format well known in the press and editorialization of photography. Users of tweets play off the length of the field offered by the platform for the description of the image by playing with symbols, mainly the hashtag, and an ability to write, to describe, or make people feel something. I can first distinguish a first effect, that of an obvious text-image relationship. In this obvious text-image relationship, text and image emphasize each other, thus placing themselves in the order of redundancy. A neutral relationship emerges, one that consists of documenting the image. The present logic is therefore documentary, almost classifying the image and the activity. This approach and report can be found in the accounts of journalists and professional photographers who see the platform, like Twitter or Instagram, as a second possibility for a portfolio. We are therefore in the citation register. The text is then a codicil, I would say. It amends the photograph presented, it specifies it. The text is like a testament. It reveals to users the intention of the taker of the image. It is therefore sometimes very redundant. The second effect, which I call descendant, is the following one. The descendant text-image relationship contains a text and an image which are played against each other. The image does not say the text, and the text does not speak of the image. It is the relationship of the two which informs about the intentions of the user of the profile who enjoys this larger or smaller gap effect. It is often non-photographers discovering the pleasure of photographic creation facilitated by the device offered by the platform who most often comment on this ridiculous little gesture of everyday life. The logic is that the image arouses an emotion, which is a subsequent consultation will bring out and will remain precise thanks to the text. We find ourselves in the register of the classic game of the denotation connotation slightly shifted. In the last and third text image relationship, which is a kind of a waltz between text and image, I distinguish the incident, it is the last one, text image relationship. The image and the text do not necessarily have a relationship with each other. The user is in a poetic relation with the device. He or she likes the text as much as the image, and if both meet, it can be accidental. What matters is to create a sequence, a coherence, an art of doing with the gallery and with the thread of Twitter. Such an accidental connection is seen a lot by amateur photographers, native of Instagram, and who are going through all the platform and who will love to narrate, to tell the story through images by the idea of arising the effect of the imagination in others. So we are, for the last part of the presentation, I'm in my conclusion part. We are in a process of photography as an illustration of science. Science is an illustration of life of scientists, and not science. Science is not seen as a process. We are in the register of poetics and narrative. The images, the photography is a box or bubble, the text of which is located below the spaces dedicated to the photography. A sort of detachment between text and image then takes place, as in a disjointing comic strip. In all those three cases I was presenting before, the text-image relationship is a matter of successive games of dexterities which proceed from a summative activity. One accumulates the signs which themselves are in a relation of attachment or detachment to the content of the image that is thus accompanied by this work requested by the platform, Twitter. In the image of science on the Twitter account of the Southern Territories, these three reports do not all meet. We see a lot of the obvious report, as we can see on the image just now, and the incident report. The image illustrates scientific life, but do not reveal neither the object nor the methods or the results of science. As a conclusion, we can say that science is becoming a commonplace, but not producing result in the narrative of the photography on the platform, such as Twitter. And that's it for me.